today's session of Divorce Court. Omar and Lisa's relationship was like a fairy tale, and they could hardly wait to be married. But after only a year and a half, Lisa says she doesn't love Omar anymore.
I understand within 4 months that you abhorred him and the very fact that he came to touch you.
You're making way too much out of that, Judge.
Calling me a lie doesn't get too far in here.
But Omar says while he was out on the road working, Lisa was having an affair and spending all of his money.
What do you have to show for all those years of hard working?
Nothing.
So you took everything. You
Well,
think that
I
he would
think,
help
I
you
think
to
that
be-
like everything's getting twisted because like
I'm just trying to show you the logic of your thoughts.
Now Lisa has a new boyfriend.
Lisa needs to learn how to do things on her own.
Ooh. Hey, baby, you better learn to do it on your own.
It's the case of Lisa Clapperton versus Omar Perez, today in Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Mablean Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the matter of Omar Perez versus Lisa Clapperton. I'm advised, Lisa and Omar, that you've been married for a year and a half. You've been separated for 4.5 years, longer than you were married. I understand you've been quite a patsy in this relationship. As a matter of fact, she called you a wimp. Did you know that? Would you describe yourself as such?
No, I don't.
You were
No, I
simply
don't.
trying to be a loving husband,
Yes.
and she took it as a wimp.
Yeah, she took advantage of that.
What do you say about that, Lisa? You married a wimp, huh?
I don't believe he's a wimp. I believe that I had to take care of a lot of things in the relationship and
What did you have to take care of?
all the phone calls, all the bills, all the everything, all the like responsible type stuff, and I wasn't exactly the most responsible person to handle that stuff.
So
I
you
was
paid
working
the
all
bills?
time.
Well, he worked and I paid the bills with his money, yes.
What else?
I just, you know, I first of all, I never cheated on him, okay? I separated from him 2 months before I even met the person I'm with now.
And then you got into an affair with Lauren.
Well, it wasn't an affair. See, I was
It
already
wasn't an affair.
separated.
So what do you call it?
I got into a relationship with somebody
Oh,
else.
relationship is different than affair. How do you describe the difference?
Well, because I had already emotionally and verbally separated from my husband before I moved on to something else. And it wasn't a plan. It wasn't something that I had planned on. It just
So you
happened.
moved out?
No, as a matter of fact, he was a truck driver and he was home 3 days a month. So even after we separated, I let him still stay with us.
So you called the separation when he was driving and away for 2 or 3 months trying to earn a living so he could pay these bills that you weren't paying? That's what you call the separation?
No, the separation was that the marriage would eventually end up in divorce. That was what the separation was.
But did you know that you were separated?
Yeah,
Or did you think you were
talked.
still married?
We talked. I knew we were still married. We still married. I was trying to work out something to save the marriage.
And you were trying to save this marriage?
Yes, I did.
You didn't know that she was going to go out and have another affair while you
No,
were
I
on the
didn't.
road, right?
No, I didn't.
But she didn't call that an affair. She called it a relationship.
Yeah, she called that a relationship.
And is that the distinction? Because he was driving and away from home and you got involved in another relationship, you don't call that an outside affair?
No, because what would happen was that when he went initially to go on this job on the road, I thought, well, this would be a good time for me to find out, like, whether I miss him or, like, the first time he went.
I think you had already found that out, that you didn't miss him. And I understand within 4 months that you abhorred him and the very fact that he came to touch you
No,
just
I
caused
didn't
you
say
disgust.
You're making way too much out of that, Judge.
I'm making it up?
Because, yeah. You're not
You didn't
making
tell
it
them
up.
that?
I'm not saying you're making it up. I'm saying that you're making it
because
sound.
calling me a lie doesn't get too far in here.
You're making it sound like a lot more than it really was.
No, I'm probably making it sound like what it really is, and you want to make it sound like a lot less than what it really was.
No, that's not true because I talked about it with him. As a matter of fact, first of all, we had a lot of conversations regarding that while he was on the road, and he always made it seem perfectly okay that I still had to keep up the household and the bills and all that. regardless of whether we were separated or not. And
Well, he wanted you to write the
often-
checks. He's on the road.
Okay, well, I know that. I know that. He called me every week and gave me most of his paycheck. I had to get his permission in order to get the numbers to even get it by ComCheck, by the way they pay the truck drivers.
He gave you most of his paycheck?
Yeah, he did.
Except how much?
Maybe $100 a week he would keep for himself.
$100 a week he kept for himself. And he gave you the rest. Is that right?
Yes, because I have our child. We have a child
Because you
together.
have your child. And so isn't that a pretty good guy? Don't
He's
you
a
think
very
so?
good guy. I think he's a wonderful person.
Omar knows
Did I
that's the
ask you
truth.
anything? Who are you? Is this Lauren over there in the
That's
Gallup
Lauren,
poll?
yes.
You speak when you're spoken to. It's not the way it's going. This is not a free-for-all in here. This is court. How did you expect him to get a place to live if he's giving you all of his check except $100 a week?
Well, over the last 2 years, he's only been giving me $300 a month for child support.
All right, but you said he gave you all of his check except $100 a week.
That was 4 years ago. That was back then.
So he finally wised up and decided not to give you all of his money.
Absolutely.
What made you stop giving her all of your check except $100 a week?
My idea was help her to graduate from school so she will be able to take care of herself and my daughter. And as soon as she finishes school, I stopped giving her.
You
my
helped her
whole paycheck.
You helped her go to school?
Yes.
While you were separated?
Yes, I
While
did.
she was in this relationship with Lauren?
Yes, I did.
Why wasn't Lauren helping her go to school?
I have no idea.
Did you see him? He said, not me. Your man over there that you left this man who's taking care of you for said, not me. He wasn't willing to help you go to school. You better listen to that before you get into this one, else you'll be back in my court again real soon. You stopped giving her the money
After she graduated.
after she graduated.
Yeah, and start
And
paying
now she's
$300.
trying to make it appear though you were just an evil person who all of a sudden stopped giving her all of your paycheck except $100.
Yes.
And now he's only giving me $300 a month. You forgot to tell me the part that now you have a job. How about that?
I do.
You
I
didn't think
you
that
didn't
was
ask
a,
me.
did you think, I didn't ask you anything else either.
Lisa's boyfriend offers some damaging testimony when divorce court returns.
Lisa needs to learn how to do things on her own.
Ooh. Ooh.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or email us at www.divorcecourttv.com. Divorce court is back in the case of Omar Perez versus Lisa Clapperton as the judge questions Lisa about taking everything from Omar.
Are you living in the same house you and he were living in
No.
at the separation?
No.
You moved to another place?
Yes.
And you took all of the other furniture?
I have everything, yes.
You took everything.
Except for what he has.
Everything.
So you took everything. You have it all at your house. Is that right?
Yes, we might have split it up, but he went to go live with at my grandmother's house.
Because he didn't have a place.
Right.
You have a place now, Omar?
I do.
And what do you have of the items that you purchased in this place of yours now?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Not even a bed?
Not even a bed.
Not a living room set?
No.
Not anything?
Not,
What do you have to show for all those years of hard working?
nothing. Except my daughter.
You took it all. And you want the living room set too. Now, why do you think you should have the living room set as well?
Because I have full-time custody of Rebecca, who's our daughter, and I believe that.
And she sleeps in the living room.
No, she sleeps in her room, but she needs to come home to a complete house. I believe.
She needs to come home to a complete house?
Yeah.
And she'll just have a hard time living if she doesn't have that living room set, right? Because the house will be incomplete.
No, that's not true.
Well,
I
when you
just
say
think
she
that-
needs to come home to a complete house, wouldn't a father be a complete house too?
Yes.
But you don't have a problem with her not coming home to a father?
Judge, I tried to do that. I stayed trying to do that without telling him how I felt. I thought it would be
Well, that was deceitful. Come on. But you don't have a problem with your daughter. What's her name?
Rebecca.
You don't have a problem with Rebecca not coming home to a full house, which includes her father. But you really think that she needs to come home to a full house that's completely furnished with the living room set.
Right.
So why don't you ask Lauren to buy you the living room set? He didn't pay for nursing school. Maybe he'll buy you a living room set. He's shaking his head again. No way. You better turn around and see what this man is saying.
Believe me, I know Lauren very well, and anything he does is fine.
Anything he does is fine. Wait a minute. So
wait,
now,
I need to tell you something about this. I need to tell you.
No, you have to tell me something about this. Anything he does is fine.
That's right.
You're willing to have a relationship with the man who said, I will not pay for her to go to nursing school, and I'm not going to buy her a living room set.
You know what?
But no.
If he was my husband, if we were, and he wanted me to go to school, I'm sure that he would support that.
He just said he wasn't going to pay for you to go to nursing school.
Well, we're not living together. We're not.
Oh,
we've just
that's
been
the
in
criteria.
Well, you know, I mean, it's not, you know, it's a commitment verbally.
You
it's not like
separated from your husband, and you were in nursing school, and you started a relationship with another man, Lauren, and you don't think that he should have assisted you or offered to help you in any way, and you didn't have a job, and you had a child, and you're willing to enter into a relationship with him thinking maybe he'll do it if you marry him, right? Then he would help you. You think that he would help you?
I think that like everything's getting twisted because like
I'm just trying to show you the logic of your thoughts.
Okay, now you said that a father would be part of a complete. You know, I
think so.
Okay, but we have always worked as a team when it comes to Rebecca. She has never seen us argue, fight. We have never argued or fighted.
Well, I certainly compliment you for that.
Well, I'm just saying that she gets love from both sides and as well as from Lauren too. So please don't make it seem like she sees a bunch of animosity.
As soon as this divorce is final, which will be soon, you can get Lauren to buy your living room set. What about that? He's shaking his head again. See, I told you, marriage would not do it. He shook his head again.
Your Honor, can I say something, please?
In a minute. Why do you want the living room set?
Well, I think that after everything I did for her, I mean, she always tried to push me around, telling me what to do. And now I'm asking for one thing.
Not this nice, compassionate woman. She wouldn't push you around.
Now I'm asking for one thing, and she doesn't want to give it to me. I mean, I don't think it's fair.
Lauren, I'll hear from you. What would you like to say, and what can you add to this?
Good morning, Your Honor. Sorry I interrupted earlier. I didn't mean to. The reason I sit back there shaking my head is because Lisa needs to learn how to do things on her own.
Ooh! Ooh!
And she needs to, on her own, learn how to hold down a job and to buy her own furniture and to pay for her own nursing schools, and she's doing that now. She hasn't in the past.
She graduated from nursing school already because he paid for it. She didn't have to do that.
And she's very grateful to Omar for that. She is.
But see, for you, in this relationship with you, it's like, hey, baby, you better learn to do it on your own because I'm not going to do for you what Omar did for you. Did you hear that?
That's part of what I love about him, though.
Oh, because he's going to make you do it on your own?
No, because he knows that I can, too. So did he, but
Omar knew that you could, you just didn't.
Absolutely, I agree.
It's probably because you didn't have to, right? Are you and Lauren living together now?
No.
Okay. Do you plan to live together anytime soon?
No.
I said anytime soon.
Anytime soon, no. You know, eventually, hopefully.
Yeah, you're hopeful. I don't know. Lauren doesn't sound like he's too ready to be in a relationship where he has to take care of somebody because marriage is a commitment where he would have to do that. He says you need to learn to do it yourself. I hope that you won't need anything while you're waiting on Lauren. You may be in trouble. All right. Anything else either of you want to tell me to help me make my decision? Anything else? Omar?
Like I said, I mean, I always took care of her. I was raised to believe that a man should always take care of his family. We have a daughter together, so that's the reason why I did everything I did.
All right. Anything else you want to tell me, Lisa?
No, that's
I mean, for you to help me make my decision.
Well, like I had said earlier, I think that the complete house is probably the best thing, you know, for her to come home to. I came home to a complete house growing up. You know, there was a living room set and everything like that when I grew up. So it's probably important.
Because you also grew up with the same attitude that it's a man's responsibility to take care of his household and his wife. Is that right? Which is not a bad idea. Anything else you want to say, Mr. Lauren?
In my heart, there was no affair. We weren't sneaking around behind Omar's back. There was nothing like that. I asked her 3 times if she was separated, maybe not legally separated through an attorney or something, but they were separated. And the reason I asked her those 2 or 3 times was because I didn't want a gun stuck at the back of my head at some point.
But didn't you realize that there was something going on because she told you that he was still sending her through nursing school?
Well, that's on Omar. I wouldn't have sent her through
Oh, you
nursing
thought he was
school.
just doing it because
He's a
had
nice guy.
money that he needed to give away?
No, because he's a nice guy and he cared about Lisa. He really is genuinely a nice guy. I wouldn't have put her through nursing school. I'd have told her to pay for it
Yeah, you
yourself.
told us that. You've made that very clear. That's why I understand well that you wouldn't have done it. All right, I'm going to take a break, and I'll be back with my decision.
When divorce court returns, the judge renders her verdict and an update on the case of Jody Monty versus Charles Monty.
Bills were going unpaid, and I didn't know.
What bills? How many bills do you get in a year and a half?
7 credit cards.
7 credit cards in 1.5 years?
Divorce court will be back in session in a moment. Divorce court is back in the case of Omar Perez, who is divorcing his wife Lisa because he says she not only cheated on him, she left him flat broke.
In my opinion, this is a rather interesting take on human nature. You had and were married to Omar, who was giving to you, caring, responsive to your needs and to your requests, willing to give you everything financially that he could, willing to provide for you, and you couldn't accept that. You didn't like his love. You couldn't accept his love. You couldn't accept him doing that for you. But you can be happy with the person who's saying to you, I'm not going to do that for you. You will have to do it for yourself. And if you think that that's a negative on Omar's part because he did everything for you, all you had to do was stop and not allow him to do everything for you. You could have gotten a job while you were married and living with him, but you chose not to because it was comfortable and okay for you to do that with Omar. I don't understand human nature why when you're in a relationship where somebody is giving you this and all he's asking is that you share and you help by writing the checks to pay the bills and you call that doing everything for him. That was for the 2 of you, not for him. The least you could do, I think, is write the checks. I would that I'd have somebody to give me the money and just let me write the checks. That's easy. And Omar, maybe that's where you made your mistake. You gave her everything. You gave her too much.
I thought she
And
deserved
perhaps
that.
in the next relationship, you'll learn that you don't give everything, that you have to allow the other person to get some things on their own. Or look at it and see if the person is willing to accept you giving them everything. In this case, however, the decision is that the judgment of the court is the living room set is awarded to Omar. You got everything else by your own admission. And yet, I mean, you're just greedy. Go buy a living room set.
Okay.
And one caveat, don't marry Lauren. He's not going to give you everything. Court is in recess.
When divorce court returns, an update on the case of Jody Monty versus Charles Monty.
Charles no longer loves me. He wants nothing to do with me.
Closed captioning for divorce court provided by. If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or email us at www.divorcecourttv.com. And now for an update on a previous case in divorce court. Jody says her marriage to Charles fell apart because they fought constantly about money.
Charles no longer loves me. He wants nothing to do with me. I wanted to make things work out. I wanted to go to counseling, and he didn't want to.
He told you he didn't want you anymore.
Yes. Bills were going unpaid, and I didn't know.
What bills? How many bills do you get in a year and a half?
7 credit cards.
7 credit cards in 1.5 years? And you ran them up?
And she was furious that he used their honeymoon money to buy a computer.
We canceled our honeymoon. He said we can't afford it. He goes, how about we get a computer instead? Well,
So he canceled the honeymoon, and he said, let's get a computer.
The judge ordered Charles to pay Jody for half the value of the computer. After they left court, Jody said that there's no way Charles could pay her back financially or emotionally for what she went through by being married to him.
I was raised to believe that a man should take care of her family. Even if I wasn't with her, I decided to take care of my family. We have a daughter together, so I thought it was the right thing to do.
You think the judge was fair out there?
She made me look like a bad girl, but I believe that she was very fair, yes.